Welcome back to the Tired Gear Hang. This is Mike, and happy Friday, everybody. Hope everybody's doing well. Today, I want to talk to you about some devastating options that we have. There are technically 4 Devastator options out there coming. Several we already have, but I'm going to look at what's on the way. We're going to talk about this, and most of you all have already expressed a lot of your opinions and ideas about this, which kind of helps mold this video. We're going to talk about all the different companies, all the different options, and then I'm going to tell you what I'm doing and what I'm seeing and how I feel about all this. Coming up. First off, I want to say that the Vectron Labs, the VL01A Ring-Yo Scrapper is, let's just say that no news is bad news when it comes to Vectron Labs, and I know that they were showing prototypes and it was moving along, but I'm hearing that it's not going to happen. But I'm not really trying to pass that information along because I don't know how reliable the sources are on all that. But one of the problems is that they did get some sort of a prototype together, but they haven't sent out a review sample to anybody. They haven't really gotten their name out there. They haven't done anything. I would try to get a review sample in like IMGO's hands or something to try to get this project moved along. I'm not saying it's not going to happen, but my recommendation to people from day one was pre-order on ShowZ for $1. So ShowZ $1 pre-order will get you one, and if it never shows up, you can get your dollar back. All right, so we're going to take it down to the 3 options that are out there, and it's nice of them to all give us a scrapper at the same time to compare. It's kind of funny. Looking at them left to right, you have X-Transbots on the left, Fanstoys in the middle, and on the right, MMC. First of all, MMC's is going to scale at about 18 inches. The other two are going to scale to between 20 and 21 inches. So there's a big difference in size between MMC and the rest of them. They're not competing for the same space. I really do think Fanstoys and X-Transbots are competing for the exact same space. So then you get to going, okay, which one do you like better? And it almost looks like the Fanstoys one is a real model and not a render, but renders can get pretty realistic these days. But looking at theirs, it does look like it's an actual figure. Versus X-Transbots obviously is a render. But looking at them side by side, I kind of like X-Transbots a little bit better aesthetically. Now I know we're probably going to have a more solid product from Fanstoys than from X-Transbots. But I also want to point out that bot mode, for me personally, I don't even care. I only want it for combined mode. But a lot of other people are going to be saying, well, which one do I want in bot mode? Which one do I want in combined mode? And some people are even going to have them in alt mode. So there's multiple reasons to have multiple sets. Now, the first devastating option of the 3 is the MMC. Now, I personally think MMC will have theirs completed before the other 2. I think MMCs will be out before X-Transbots, or maybe it's a tie within a month or 2 of X-Transbots. So there's my prediction on this. And with it, I do think MMC, even though they got an all-in-one transformation, they do keep things relatively simple. I'm not sure how they're going to pull everything off, but this guy here should be more or less simple. Most of them are pretty close to all-inclusive on this. Now, we do have some information about combiner parts for Fanstoys. We'll get to that when we get to that. But these are generally around 100. I'm not sure if prices are up on this one just yet. Just looking at what they just had with the Streetwise, it was 110. So, yeah, 105 for their Medicus. Around that price range is what I'm expecting to see out of it. 110, maybe 115 at the max. So the most affordable option out there would be this one here. Then we get into, this is what that looks like in the leg mode, and it does look pretty solid. They figured out how to make this a nice solid leg, and I like that, I admire that. And it doesn't look too bad from the front. The side and the back, maybe not the greatest, but from the front, it looks pretty decent. But you can look at the combined mode all around, and I don't think the combined mode is bad. I think that the right leg looks a little weird, and the arms, I kind of like how they pulled off the arms. I don't know how the hands and the forearms fit inside of it. We will find that out eventually when we get to transforming this thing and get in people's hands. But that waist still bothers me. I'm wondering if there'll be some sort of add-on clip to clip on to that. And we'll see more of this combined mode later when I do a side-by-side with combined modes. But I do have a problem with that waist piece. But as we've seen in the past, they've released upgrade kits in the past. Maybe they will. Maybe someone else will. And that's something that you got to kind of factor in. If you think about price, this is the lowest price, but you got to buy an upgrade kit. That's always something to worry about. They've also shown off their version of Mixmaster, which looks okay to me. I think it's not a bad looking version of Mixmaster. And as you can see, that has the purple barrel, and I think they're trying to go as G1 as they can. I think that they're doing a pretty good job with it. And again, all in one. And this is the end result. And as you can see, it's really all in one. And once it transforms into this leg, it's going to clip into the hip, and it's going to get its job done. And I do think that there's a detriment to the all-in-one, especially when you look at the lower part of the torso with the waist area. And it all has to work, and it may not be the most beautiful in some areas. But overall, it still looks pretty good. So here's the X-Transbots offering, and they have 6 of these bad boys. 4 up for pre-order on Show Z right now. TH reviewer code. And with this, I've pre-ordered. I haven't reviewed any. I've pre-ordered 4 of these 6. I am in on this set 100%. And I'm in on it to replace my Toy World, and we'll get into that too. But I think that they're going to move pretty quick with this, and I think that it's really nice that they have laid out pretty much everything. Pretty much laid out. Their cards are on the table for the most part. So you can see all these figures. They look great. Another thing I want to point out about these figures is that they are actually pretty big. Now you look at them side by side. That is a big bot. And this is going to be a big project. Now these are $150 a piece. From my understanding, they're all going to be $150 a piece. I don't know if we're going to be a shocker that one of them is going to be $200 or $220 and the rest are $150. I'm not sure. I'm going under the current assumption that everyone is assuming it's $150 per figure, and that's just the way it's going to be. And I'm okay with that. That would be $900 for 6 figures, as long as you don't have to buy any additional parts. And we're going to get into that in the combine mode section here. And then they have given us a slew of pictures. They just kind of blitzed us on all this, and it's really nice. It's nice that they've given us all these pictures and that we can see what's coming and stuff to get excited about. But I do think this looks very G1, and in some cases G1 to a detriment. They do let a couple of these, I believe the bot mode fails a little bit on some of these, but the alt modes look absolutely perfect, which is a bit of a frustration. I know Magic Square did a really good job on their combiner, but there is a lot of work on transforming that figure. And just coming out of their James Bond, love that figure, but there was a lot of work. I missed a few things, and that's the other thing with X-Transbots. I work really hard to not break them. I missed a few things on their James Bond or their Punch Counter Punch, so thanks to everybody in the comments for pointing that out. It's going to come with a massive amount of heads, and so I understand some's Studio Ox, some is going to be from comic and toy and toon and different multiple expressions for toon. And I think that's pretty cool. That's a right way to go. It gets the job done. I think that it looks good. It's overkill in my opinion, though. I mean, 3 heads would have been fine for me, but they do want to go above and beyond in this area, and you know, why not? Now we got the Fanstoys option for Scrapper. I do want to say that it's up for pre-order right now, $20 down at Show Z. I did pre-order this, and I also pre-ordered the Sound Blaster, so I could get that one cassette out of it to get the Rat Bat. But this is their first offering. They're showing it. People are saying it's going to be $200. I've seen retailers, in the US retailers, charging $200. I don't know if it'll be a little bit cheaper on Show Z, and I expect and hope for that. But $200 each is actually not bad when you consider, if you consider that all the parts will be coming with it. So the combining parts, if it needs to combine, will come with it. You already saw how this is a big bot, and there he is next to the Galvatron. So I'm guessing this will be around the same size as the X-Transbots height-wise and bot mode. And really, why is the focus on the bot mode? Because there's no other pictures of what I want to see. Well, there is, of course, the alt mode, and then we can look at the alt mode there, which that looks pretty nice. And Fanstoys does hit all of those modes and match the tune, a little bit of real world to it, looks pretty good overall. What really matters to me though is, of course, this leg. The combined mode. This is the only picture we got of the combined mode, which really does kind of bother me. It's a little frustrating that they're not going to put out pictures of the combined mode, and with that, you can't truly say, I like the aesthetic of Fanstoys better than the aesthetic of X Transbots. And so comparing them, you're still comparing apples to oranges because you don't know exactly what's going to look. They usually deliver though, but we still haven't gotten the first two combiners done, and we still haven't seen them in person. I will be honest, the X Transbots offering, their Minosaur looked different in person and in reality than it did in the render. And I think the same thing could happen with this, and the same thing could happen with their Minosaur and their Superion. But there's where it's at. And they say they'll include combining parts with each one. Hopefully, at the end, there's not a huge expense. All right, so I put this little side-by-side comparison together of the X Transbots versus the MMC. Now, I want to tell you that I overall like the aesthetic of the X Transbots more than the MMC, but I will give it to MMC. Look how clean they got those arms. You're able to tuck everything in, and it's just clean. A clean-looking arm. I like that. There's still a lot of kibbliness and stuff that just doesn't tuck away on the X Transbots, which I would like to have seen. Maybe some way to get rid of the crane and all those things. But MMC does it. Now, X Transbots does look better in the midsection and all that. And one of the reasons it looks better is a lot of people are saying they believe his chest is going to be one big chunk of piece, and then everything's going to clip into it. So that's what everyone's trying to say, that maybe the whole torso is going to come, and then you put the figures all inside of it, kind of like what we saw with other combiners in the past. And that might be true. That might be true. It might be the whole torso and thighs and all that. But anyhow, that's how it looks. I think it looks great. But let's see how it looks next. Toy World. Okay, so looking at the X Transbots on the right, Toy World on the left, I still think that X Transbots looks better. It's cleaner. It's more G1 than Toy World. But I will give it to this. I always felt like anything that comes along next would just destroy Toy World because Toy World's so old. But the Toy World one still actually does kind of hold up. It still does look pretty good. In comparison, I do like X Transbots better, maybe 15% better aesthetically than the Toy World one. But that's kind of one of those things. What about Fanstoys? How much better will Fanstoys look than Toy World? And how many of these Toy Worlds are going to be being fire sold once this is out? But you also have to think it might be a year and a half, 2 years till we get to complete this set. So there's still a lot to think about. I've seen more Toy World Devies pop up this past week than I've seen in a long time. And then one more thing about the Fanstoys one, because we truly don't know 100% when anything's coming out. But this is the release list for Fanstoys, and I believe this is supposed to be in order, and I've seen this pop up a lot lately. But as you can see, we're supposed to get the Sound Blaster and the new cassettes before we get this Scrapper. But Scrapper comes before we finish any other combiner, so it's a ballsy move if they really do put out the first of a new combiner without finishing any other combiner. So you want to commit to $200 into a new combiner, not knowing how the 5-set combiners combine all those 6 sets, so it's a whole different ball game. But still not having all that information, not knowing how it combines, not even knowing how it looks and how it performs and all that kind of stuff, and then you're going in on another set. Now, I'm pre-ordering it, I'm going in on it, even if I don't ever combine it, it'd still be kind of cool to check each one of them out as we go, and since they're spread out, it's okay with me, because you're spreading the funds out. It's not like you're dropping $1,200 at once, 6 times 200, 1,200. And there's also that fact that it could be going up between now and 2027 when they finish it. That it might go up, and you might be seeing 300 in the last one. But anyhow, this is kind of strange that it's going to be a swift kick in something if they release this before they finish any combiners. So to recap, I'm not going to be in on the MMC at all. I have to put some sort of self-constraint in on this collecting situation, and with that, if you are in on the MMC, it will scale very well with all the other MMC bots, and they all look really good, and they're all coming out in a timely manner, so you can have a great collection there. And I still feel 18 inches is plenty big enough for a masterpiece scale to have in your collection. But the only problem is they don't scale well with, say, a Zeta or DX9 or these other ones. And I will be going in on both sets, the X Transbots and the Fanstoys, and it's because it's coming one at a time. I think I can swing it. And it'll be kind of fun to compare and contrast, and I'm just wondering how close each figure is. I'm thinking that X Transbox will be out way before the Fanstoys one. I mean, just kind of history showing itself. But maybe Fanstoys is turning over a new leaf with this project, and maybe it's going to be a whole different type of project. But we'll find out. Only time will tell. But I'm curious, what do you think? Some of you have shared your feelings and belief with me already, but I would like to know, does anything change over this past week? Since you first saw these reveals, are you still in on one? Have you switched from one camp to the other? Or are you getting multiple sets to decide on your own? I don't think there'll be box sets of this stuff, so that's just my belief. But let me know what you think in the comments below. Like and subscribe, and Tydirium Hanger out.